Afternoon. So today I'll go on to the next of the similes mentioned by the Buddha in the Vajra Sutra. We're up to number 8 now out of 9. So this 8th simile is lightning. But before continuing with that, I just want to add something to last week's talk where I spoke about the 7th simile, which is a dream. And in Khyentse Jampa Tekchok's book, Insight into Emptiness, where he goes through all these 9 similes, he mentions that this one, the dream, is an example of how past phenomena, things that happened in the past, are empty of existing inherently or truly. And actually, he quotes Bhava Viveka, who's one of the great Indian masters of the past, the Madhyamika masters, who explained this simile of the dream in this way. He said, since when we wake up from a dream, all the things that we dreamed about have disappeared, the dream is a simile connected to the past. In other words, the simile of the dream illustrates that phenomena of the past do not inherently exist. And I think that is very helpful to think about because when it comes to past events, past experiences, when we're remembering those, we can sometimes get caught up in emotions. We can feel sad about sad things that happened, angry about things that upset us, excited about wonderful things that we had, that we experienced. And so when that's happening, it's as if our mind is seeing those past events as still present, still happening in the present. Yeah? And so it's good to look at that and ask ourselves, is that really true? Are these things still there? Are they still existing? And obviously they're not. Okay, intellectually we can understand that, but emotionally we still act as if those things are occurring in the present. And so our mind can get all tangled up in disturbing emotions, and that can lead to other kinds of problems as well. So it's really helpful to understand that past events are similar to last night's dream or any other dream we ever had. It's just in our mind, just appearances or images in our mind, and not really there anymore, not really existing anymore. So realizing that can help us to calm down, not see things so unrealistically, and our emotions will calm down as well, we'll be less upset. So now the next simile of lightning illustrates how present phenomena do not exist inherently. So lightning, we've been having lightning here recently, and I'm not a meteorologist, so I can't explain why it happens, how it happens, but anyway, there's certain conditions in the atmosphere that come together, and then there are these flashes of lightning. And they only last probably a few seconds at the most, and then they're gone. And where do they come from? Where does a flash of lightning come from? Does it come from some other place, like Spokane? Does it come from Spokane over there and flash? And then after it's flashed, does it go somewhere else? Does it go over to Coeur d'Alene? Flash over there. So it's not like that. It doesn't come from somewhere else, and it doesn't go somewhere else afterwards. It just happens very, very briefly. So, we can't really locate it as coming from somewhere else, going to somewhere else. And even if we try to locate it like where it is right here, right now, that becomes really difficult too. If you're looking at the sky and you happen to be looking right at the place where the lightning is flashing, it goes poof. And if your friend is standing next to you and you say, "Oh, look," but by the time they look, it's not there anymore. So even to locate it in the present, as if it's some kind of real thing, becomes very difficult. So I'll just read what Khyentse Jampa Tekchok says about this, and how lightning is a good illustration for present phenomena and how they are not inherently existing. So he says, likewise, all phenomena of the present are merely appearances to our minds. They arise due to the coming together of their causes and conditions. They do not exist at all from their own side. Just as we cannot say with lightning, this is where the lightning came from, there it is, or that's where it went. From whatever angle we analyze the phenomena of the present, we are not able to find them. We may examine them from the viewpoint of agent, action, and object. So in the Buddhist philosophical texts, they often talk about this agent, action, and object. And it's helpful to know that action doesn't only refer to physical actions. Even our thoughts, even our perceptions, seeing something or hearing something, that is an action. That's considered an action according to Buddhist philosophy. There is a doer of the action, our mind. There is the action, perceiving or thinking. And there is an object. Okay, so every moment in our experience, there are these three things of an agent, a doer of the action, an action that is done, and then an object of the action. So he's saying if we do this kind of analysis of agent, action, and object, if we scrutinize the nature of the phenomena itself, or if we investigate their causes and its effects, we will not be able to find them. So this is what's called ultimate analysis. And it's different from conventional analysis. Conventional analysis would be to say, okay, yeah, yesterday there was lightning over there. You know, I saw it and I heard the thunder, and it's confirmed by many other people and by the weather stations and so on. So it did exist. But that's conventional analysis. That's just analyzing things in a conventional way. But ultimate analysis is not being satisfied with just what appears to us, but wanting to look deeper, wanting to find out what that object actually is. Like, for example, a book. You know, we say, yeah, there's a book here. I'm holding it in my hands. I'm looking at it. I'm reading from it, and so on. So that's conventional analysis. But ultimate analysis would be to say, what is a book? What exactly is a book? Is there something we can find among all the parts of the book that we can point to and say, that is the book right there? Okay, so this is what emptiness is all about, because it's like when you do that kind of analysis, whether it's a book or a table or a person or a flash of lightning, you know, you're trying to find something you can point to, you can put your finger on. That is that object right there. And they say if you do that properly, you won't find the object. You won't find anything. You find emptiness. So that's what he's talking about here. If we try to analyze present phenomena and try to find them, something we can point to is saying that is that object. It becomes very difficult. We can't find it. So he's saying there is nothing to point to as being findable under analysis. Like the lightning, phenomena of the present disappear as soon as we start to search for them. So I found this analogy of lightning really helpful some years ago. It was about 15 years ago now. And I was doing a retreat. I was part of a group retreat. One Italian monk, Venerable Antonio Satta, would hold these retreats. He would call them Vipassana Mahamudra retreats. They were part Theravada Vipassana, part basic Mahamudra from our tradition. So I did one of these retreats in Bodhgaya, 1 month long, and it was quite intense. Total silence, and all day long we had sessions of sitting and walking, sitting, walking, with very short breaks in between. And then once a day in the evening he'd give a talk. So I was having a lot of trouble with my mind. Probably everybody was. You know, you're trying to concentrate, you're trying to focus, but just you get bombarded by thoughts. So I really found it helpful to think about lightning. I was contemplating how lightning exists. I didn't even have this book at that point in time, but just somehow I just started thinking about lightning and how, yeah, it just appears. It doesn't come from somewhere, it doesn't go somewhere, it just appears and that's it, then it's gone. And so I really found that helpful to think of my thoughts as being like that, like flashes of lightning. They just appear. Of course, there's causes and conditions that cause them to appear, but once, after they're there, they're gone. It's not that they go away and come back later. Of course, you have other thoughts that come, but that one particular thought, any thought you take in your mind, is just like that. It's just a flash, and then it's gone. So for me, that was really helpful. It really helped me to not take my thoughts so seriously, not get upset about them or attached to them, and just let them come, let them go, and focus more on the practice. So it's a very deep idea, even though we may be able to understand it intellectually, but to really contemplate it and understand it and get a feeling for it, it's quite deep, quite subtle, but very helpful. So I'm thankful to the Buddha and the great masters of the past to give us these analogies, these similes that help us understand emptiness, but also subtle impermanence, which is perhaps easier to understand than emptiness, but still very, very profound, very beneficial. Okay.